Bow Banger Management Fantasy Hockey Podcast. Woo!
Woo! Woo! Nice. Welcome in, one and all, from far and wide to Banger Management, the Fantasy Hockey Podcast. Gentlemen, how are you doing today?
Feeling pretty good after a nice win last night for the boys.
Yes, it's been a wild series so far.
I mean, I'm in high spirits. I had feels like what was the best Sunday, Mother's Day, Habs Day, all three combined. It's just hard to be in a bad mood after the Habs win like that, you know? I don't know.
Yeah. So we're going to be going over round 2 of the series, one of which is done already, one of the matchups. Pretty crazy stuff. So before we dive in, follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. We are there. All the socials are in the podcast description, and the link to the Discord is there as well. Be sure to join the Discord community. If you're watching on YouTube, give this video a like and subscribe to the channel. So,
and if you're watching on YouTube, this is not wine. This is just water with some I think it's like sugar-free. Yeah, like sugar-free like grenadine thing. I put a little lemon in there because my girlfriend's the best. And that's it.
You look like you're a Sex and the City extra.
Yeah, I am. What are the odds? It's just my sweet treat drink, you know? A little sweet drink. Yeah. And you put it in a wine glass, everything tastes better in a wine glass.
It looks really good.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Got one big ice cube in there too.
Did you say? I wasn't sure. Never mind.
What?
Okay. I heard Josh say, "Bleep, it looks really good."
No, I don't think he said the bleep part.
I misheard. Okay. Oh man. So
trying to get me in trouble.
Yeah, seriously.
My bad. Okay, so yeah, lots of hockey. Where do we begin? We begin with the West. We begin with the East. What do you guys?
Let's start with Carolina because it feels like one and done basically.
Okay, so Carolina Hurricanes sweep the Philadelphia Flyers 4-0. I mean, 2 games in overtime, so give Flyers some credit there. It wasn't like a complete, easy sweep, although any sweep is a sweep. Yep. Carolina first team since the Oilers in 1985 to start a playoffs 8-0. I feel like they're pretty scary this year. I know they make it to the conference finals every year, and we kind of like to meme like, oh, they always get swept in the conference finals, but maybe it's the 2 sweeps. I don't know, but this year feels a bit different for Carolina.
Gretzky, Stankoven, one and the same. Crazy stuff.
I think they're a good team, but I'm not scared of them more than I am on any of the previous 5 years type of thing where they've been in the same situation just with a couple more games played. I just feel like they played like 2 of the quote unquote weaker teams of the playoffs, and I'm not taking any like credit away from them. Like they are a fantastic team, but I do feel like if you're putting up like the competition that they had compared to some of the other matchups we've had in like the early rounds, I'm not surprised that they were like heavily favored going into those and that they ended up just taking care of business. There were some close games, but the fact that you don't lose even one game is an impressive feat nonetheless. But it just still goes to show that like they would lose a game against Tampa or Montreal, right? And those 2 teams played each other in the first round. So I'm impressed, but I'm not too impressed. I feel like the Eastern Conference Final, they're gonna have a lot of time off. They're gonna be playing one of these hot teams coming out of the other side of the East, and I think they'll have a good run for their money at that point. But definitely a strong team. Like we predicted them to get here, and they're here.
Yeah, I mean, where do you stand in the argument of well rested versus fresh and more, like played recently? Because obviously the way it stands now, assuming the Habs and Sabres series goes to 7, Carolina will have had almost 2 weeks of rest before they play the conference finals, whereas the other team will probably have 2 days of rest. So at what point is it always one versus the other? Like, do you prefer to be the rested team? Do you prefer to be the more fresh team? Is there a certain amount of time where your opinion changes? Like, what do you guys think?
If it's the Habs and it goes to 7, that means that Carolina will have played basically half the games of Montreal. One, wear and tear, definitely is a factor here. And normally, I would lean on the side of a team keeping up the momentum. But considering they were, they had almost, 4 or 5 days between their last series and then this series, and they still managed to sweep, like, this is a team that's okay being rested. So I think it's scary. I'd probably lean more on the side generally of keeping up the momentum, and too many days off is bad, especially in the playoffs. But in this case, I'm probably leaning that it's scary that they're rested.
I maybe this is a hot take, but I like hate this conversation because there's so much confirmation bias that happens from it, and it just feels like it's so situational, and it's just like you can make pros and cons arguments for both sides. Like either one is like super well rested, so they have less toll on their body, like they'll have a better chance at winning like a series over 7 games type of thing. Then you're like, oh, but this team just came off a hot series, and they're like keeping the momentum going. Like we saw the series with Philly, and they were on such high momentum, and Carolina like slapped them in the face, or the Habs had just come over like this big emotional game 7 against Tampa, going up against Buffalo, like that were more well rested at that point, and then Buffalo like smacked us in the first game, right? So like it just kind of depends. I feel like it's all contextual. It just depending on how the games end up playing out, you're gonna be like, oh, this team like the rest won out over like the momentum type of thing. So I don't read too much into it. I feel like definitely some teams benefited more from like than others, but in the grand scheme of things, I feel like there's pros and cons to both, and it's just about like which team ends up being better is the one that prevails, minus like the injuries that can happen, which less injuries happen if you play less games.
The
Yeah,
nuance with
I mean, I
Philly is
definitely
that they
agree with
were,
that. I think
yeah, they were down 3-1, right? I was just gonna say is that it wasn't like they were coming in with like tons and tons of momentum. If the Habs just go and win every game by 2+ goals, like I would say that that's really, really good. If they could close out the series in another 2 games from now and just beat them 4-1, like I would love the Habs chances. But if it's like a back and forth, or let's say they go up 3-1 and then Buffalo comes back and then it's the same story as Philly, like I don't like that. I don't like that at all for the Habs.
But then it's like, do you prefer? Because if we won out, let's say in 5 games, hypothetically, right? The series is now 2-1 for Montreal as we're recording this. They play tomorrow, so the day that you guys are listening to this, the Habs will be playing this evening. Do you rather we finish it in 5, and at that point, Carolina will have had 1 week of rest, pretty much, if these series go like as early as planned? Or do you prefer to have to go to 7, and you're making Carolina have like 2 weeks off at that point, so they're maybe more mentally like disconnected, and the Habs are more still in the game flow? Like at that point, are you thinking, oh, we'd rather do this than the other? They don't care. They're
I'd
just gonna
rather
try to win
finish
every
it
game,
fast.
right? But you'd rather
I'd
finish
rather
it fast
finish it
still.
fast. Yeah.
I mean, I'm in the same boat, but I just don't
Yeah.
think it makes a huge difference.
It's just
yeah,
also like
in general, I think
yeah.
I agree. In general, I think I agree about like the confirmation bias and just arguments can be made for both. Like it is kind of a, conversation that kind of goes in circles because at the end of the day, there's no real proof either way because it just both situations have been beneficial in the past. I think what makes this situation a bit more interesting is the fact that if it does go to 7, that's 2 weeks. This has got to be like a record for the longest time
Probably.
that a team would be rested between series compared to another team. So I think like that's what I meant when like, at a certain point, it's got to make a difference, right? Like if it's a couple days, then who cares, right? That happens in the regular season all the time. A team plays, has a couple days rest versus a team that played like 2 nights ago, whatever. But 2 weeks is almost. I mean, that's like an Olympic break, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think at that point, I feel like. But again, then it's just the same argument, but just more extreme, right? For both sides. So I don't think there's a definitive answer. I think at the end of the day, the one thing that you could like is like objectively true is you just want the team that's less injured, right? Like less injured is a benefit, and generally it's got to be the team that had 2 weeks of rest is less injured and play fewer games. So in that sense, I would give the edge there. But if both teams are coming in fully healthy and one team had 2 weeks rest, one team didn't, I mean they're not playing back-to-backs in the playoffs, right? These guys are all super well conditioned. They'll be fine to play, however many games they do it in the regular season. Why can't they do it in the playoffs? I know it's more intense games, but still.
I lean towards the team that has the more rest as well. I just feel like maybe it takes you 1 extra game to get into it mentally, but then once you're there, you'll have like an advantage having, more energy in your legs. But we do got to talk. Listen, we all thought Carolina was going to be here. They did it. We talked about it on the podcast. We said, Philly, we were rooting for them, but we don't expect it to happen for them. I thought they'd win at least 1 game. How do you feel about Philly? Like, I know we had a couple Philly fans in the Discord. So if you guys are in the Discord and you're a Philly fan, let us know how you feel about this season. Because I feel like you guys were kind of playing with house money at the end of it, but then the ending is kind of like anticlimactic. How do you guys feel about Philly and their roster going forward and some of the drama that I've been hearing? I don't know about you guys, but
Yeah, I mean, I feel like my pal Matvey might not be at Shady Maple much longer if if he gets shipped off somewhere else. But no, I mean, okay, I think the top like highlights for Philly has got to be Dan Vladar got to be Porter Martone.
Yeah.
And I think we saw how big of a loss Owen Tippett was not being in that
Yeah.
series. I think Philly definitely wins at least one game if Owen Tippett's there. I mean, you lose your best player, it's a massive impact. I think some of the biggest cons for that, one is the whole Michkov situation, right? Look, it's definitely possible we come back next year. He's he trains a lot over the summer and whatever, but just seems like him and Tocchet aren't working. He gets scratched twice in the playoffs in like the second round, and this guy is right a Demidov level.
People were flaming
prospect.
the Habs for passing over him.
Yeah, people were flaming everyone who passed over him. He was supposed to be the second overall pick, consensus. Everyone wanted him. So this is kind of crazy to see. So I think that's a big question mark going next year. This is not really as much of a question mark. It just happens to players, but I was pretty disappointed with Travis Konechny's performance in the playoffs.
Yep.
I thought it was a big disappointment. So again, that's not one that I think has any impact for next year. It's more just like it happens and it sucks. I mean, look at Caulfield right now. But yeah, so I think the biggest question mark for me with Philly is the Michkov situation in terms of like where they are with what you said. Like no one expected them to even make the playoffs 3 weeks ago, right? They were or a month ago, they were out of the playoffs. They were, we talked about it. They were that extra team that you toss in the playoff picture just to show things as more interesting than they really are. But no one actually thought they were going to make it.
I think Jakey believed.
I think Jakey started believing when he picked up Vladar.
First.
Yeah, like no, he believed like
I believe like 3 weeks left in the season.
Yeah,
I
so
just kept saying I was like they're on a tear, like they're not losing.
Yeah, but like before they went on that tear, they weren't even in the conversation, right? So they go on this crazy tear. They make the playoffs. They go up against their number one rival. They beat them, right? They get revenge for all those years of Crosby and Malkin just absolutely bullying them, right? They make the second round, and then he gets swept in the second round by a team that's made the Eastern Conference Finals for the past 5 years. You're 100% happy with how this season went. It sucks. Losing in the playoffs always sucks. It's just a year that you had a chance. But in terms, if you look at it at the higher level, right? You're super happy with how this season went. It's kind of like the Habs losing in round 1 last year.
Yeah, I was
right?
going to say.
Not to keep making equivalents with the Habs because obviously like we're Habs fans, so that just hits close to home.
Wait, we are.
But if that wasn't evident enough from last episode, but yeah, it's like we weren't even expected to make the playoffs. So even though we lost 4-1 series, we only won 1 game. We didn't even win a round last year. We were pretty happy. We were like, okay, the rebuild's going pretty well. So Philly should be super super happy. And yeah, that one big Michkov question mark. But yeah, Jakey, what do you think? You were on the Philly horse the most.
No, the Michkov thing is a disaster. That's the truth. But they obviously did the right thing picking him. He slid in the draft tremendously. It was him and Bedard were neck and neck for a while, and then obviously Bedard kind of pulled ahead, and rightfully so.
But I think also like sorry, Jakey, I don't want to cut you off, but like I think didn't and you'll know this, but like didn't Michkov's camp like tell teams like if you draft him, I'm not gonna play there type of thing. So then it was kind of like Philly was like the decision. So other teams,
which
had
like
to pass
already
over
is
him.
a bit of a red flag.
Is it? Yeah.
It's kind of like it could be that, and he's tremendously skilled. And I also think it was that he was going to stay in the KHL for a little longer. I think that was kind of part of the reason he slid. All this to say, he was supposed to be and is tremendously skilled. It's just with these kind of old school like coaches, it's not really something that you can screw around with. You have to be able to play defensively and as a team player. But for the team as a whole, Philly, I think this is one of the brightest futures and the best cores in the NHL. Carolina is an exceptionally good team. If they do make it past the Eastern Conference Finals, like we can now stop with like the curse thing. I'm on the train that I hope they do lose to Montreal, but
they will.
Let's say I just will say that the teams that they've lost to were like Tampa in their prime and Florida in their prime. Like these are amazing teams that they lost to, and they've gotten better since. So if I'm a Philly fan who just lost to them, I mean, I'm not discouraged by that at all. I think they went on a great tear, and they're going to be a playoff team, for like the next 3 out of 5 years type thing with their core if they manage it properly.
Really?
And yeah, I think they're great.
I mean,
So first of all, just to name a few players that we don't talk about all the time. So we always talk about Martone, and I think we've talked about Zegras quite a bit, and we know Konechny is a good player. But you look at Forster, really
sick.
underrated, really solid. And also, Jamie Drysdale, he's not a bad player. He could be really offensively valuable. He's only 24, so defensemen tend to take a little longer to develop. But him and Jake Sanderson had a very similar draft profile. Yes, it's been 6 years. Obviously, Sanderson has pulled ahead. But still, he could be a very good offensive defenseman in his career. And, I mean, he's entering his prime now. Cam York as well.
Got drafted
Yeah.
one spot before Caulfield.
Sanheim is like Jacob Slavin light, you know, if you will, like an under the radar defenseman. And Vladar has proven to be a very solid number one goalie. So I'm
My
a very
goat's
happy
Nick
guy
Seeler.
if I'm a Philly fan. Yeah, there you go.
Nick Seeler is the blocking goat.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. So I think way better days are ahead, and I'd be excited for you as your second team, Josh. You're in good
honestly,
hands.
honestly, ever since we had that conversation about the names, like the ridiculous names they have, I can't get it out of my head. Every time I hear Alex Bump, I'm like, Bump. That's what is going on in Philly? You know these names.
Bump, Bonk, and Barky. Like what?
If that doesn't make you cheer for them, I don't know what will. One last thing on back to Carolina before we move on to the next series. I wanted to also point out that it's interesting how well they've done with almost zero performance or zero production from their top line. Again, not to keep referencing the Habs and everything.
No, this Habs is really applicable though.
But like it reminds me of like what the Habs are doing, right? They're, obviously they're not there yet, but they're 2 wins away, and they've done it all with zero 5v5 contribution from their top line. And it's pretty much the same in Carolina. So it just, teams like that, obviously it shows how strong, like how well-rounded they are.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, if you're talking about winning the conference, winning the cup, you're not doing that if your top guys don't start producing.
Mm-hmm.
I feel that way as a Habs fan. I feel that way as a fan watching the Hurricanes. Like there's a chance they could make it to the finals even without that top line because these are such well-rounded teams. But you're not beating a Colorado or a Minnesota if your top guys don't show up because their guys sure as heck are showing up.
But that's what I'm saying. Maybe you could beat an Ottawa who has been leaky all season. Who Carolina's really good at winning close, like low-scoring games. The teams that can score a lot of goals, you can't win low-scoring games against those teams, right? Like, it'll happen, but that's why you need all your scoring to show up, right? And I think they haven't played against a team that will show up consistently in that domain. That's why I'm not a little afraid for Carolina because I feel like they've been here before, but I feel like they haven't been battle tested yet properly. So they've had some close games, but that doesn't mean over a 7-game series that they've been tested enough. So I'm curious to see how they go against the winner of this Buffalo Montreal series.
Yeah. All right. We've alluded to this series enough. Let's get into it, and we will.
Can I just say one last
this.
thing?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
One last thing. My funny one-liner I want to say is that you can't win if Keandre Miller is getting more points than Sebastian Aho, which is the case right now. But I will say
and they haven't lost.
but the caveat to that is that there is an 8-game sample size only. That's not a lot because they barely played any games. So I know what you're saying. The top line is not producing, and I do agree. But to play devil's advocate, there is that part of it where there's just like not as many games, which is like, okay, maybe they're just that dominant. But you're right. Their opponents have not been as strong. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
And wait, one last thing though. Do you think Michkov
last thing.
last thing. Do you think Michkov is staying, or do you think like his career in Philly is chalked?
I think he's staying. I think
he can be staying, but do you think his career is like chalked? Like he's gonna be like a
No, I don't think he's a bust or anything like that. I think that either like he's definitely coming back to Philly, but I think eventually either he breaks out under Tocchet or Tocchet gets fired in the next year or two. And I think
how do you fire the coach that got you to round 2?
Well, I don't mean it's going to happen immediately, but if he keeps struggling and if the team doesn't keep overperforming like that, then, in general, coaches don't last that long, right? Especially these types of coaches, I feel like they don't really last that long. Mm-hmm. And that's the type of guy where I keep an eye on that for fantasy purposes. And the second Tocchet gets fired, I draft Michkov the following year, and like super late because he's had an awful start to his career, let's say, and then he pops off. So I definitely keep an eye on that. And not to say that he can't succeed in Tocchet's system. I think if he like buys into it, he can. But I think by buying into it, he's going to have to hamper his kind of natural abilities and not hit the ceiling that he can if Tocchet wasn't there. So it's a tale as old as time.
It's really tough because I was listening to 32 Thoughts today, and they were saying how like they already messed up the whole Cutter Gauthier situation. If they mess up Michkov too, like that's a huge deal. And at some point too, like Michkov was getting scratched, and you didn't really see a lot of pushback from like his teammates and stuff. So you're kind of thinking, okay, there's probably merit. Like they're seeing this guy in the locker room and on the ice and stuff like that. So like if they don't think it's crazy that he's getting scratched, so like I don't know. You can't waste a talent, but you're going to side with a coach if he's got the whole team behind him. I don't know. It's tough decision. You Philly fans, let me know what you guys think. This is obviously a peculiar situation. But you can't mess up on 2 superstars like that. Potential superstars.
I mean, as a new Philly fan over here, I
Mhm.
can tell you that anytime a team chooses the coach over the player, I think it's the dumbest decision you can ever make. I always think of Patrick Roy and that whole
Depends on the
saga.
player, though.
I mean,
Patrick
okay,
Waugh, we
sorry,
knew he was a stud.
sorry.
Michkov hasn't shown anything yet.
Yeah, but he's supposed to be a stud. Any player who's supposed to be a stud or has proven to be a stud, if you choose a coach over that, coaches
Would
are
you-
replaceable. Even the best coach in the league.
No,
Even,
I disagree.
I think that's my take, and I'm
If
pretty
St.
confident in it.
Louis and Demidov are arguing right now, you're like, fire the coach?
Absolutely. I mean, not like if you can find a
Oh,
solution.
there you go.
But if I had to choose between St. Louis and Demidov, I'm choosing Demidov.
Nah, I'm keeping St. Louis all day.
I think that's a really hot take.
It's also 2 years
It's
into his
not that-
career.
Nah.
Like,
And this
he's
is
only
coming-
played 2 years.
I
so
love St.
he'll
Louis.
be
Okay,
fine.
like you put me
Yeah,
in a
I'm not talking about
situation.
I love
Demidov, I'm talking
Demidov.
about Michkov.
Yeah,
Michkov
No,
has
but
only played for 2 years.
I'm actually curious. If all anyone listening to this, if you're in the Discord or on YouTube or whatever, leave a comment. Do you side with would you keep the coach or would you keep the star player? Because I'm
I'd keep
shocked you
the-
feel that way, Kevin.
I would
Jake,
keep
you-
the star player.
You'd keep
Yeah.
Demidov over St. Louis?
Yeah.
St. Louis
Absolutely.
made us competitive.
Yeah, look. Luckily, the situation's
No,
not
I-
arising. We love St. Louis. You know, I love
Yeah.
him as a coach. I don't want to get rid of him. But if it came down to it, I'm taking the star player every time.
It was what 10 years ago that Mike Sullivan won with Pittsburgh, right? He had 2 amazing years and then they did not win the Stanley Cup after that, which I mean they were still competitive, still a great team,
Mhm.
and he was a good coach. But you could get 15 years out of Demidov, 1, and 2, they could still be successful if they shake things up if there really is a conflict. I see
Yeah.
what you're saying though.
Mm.
I get it.
I think it
totally,
definitely is subjective to it's a case by case scenario for me, but I don't know.
It's definitely case by case, but in the blind, like you're just telling me choose one, I'm always choosing the star player.
And this isn't, for hockey. I mean, for basketball, they don't even
depends.
care about the coach. LeBron's the coach. That's the way it works. But yeah, okay. Let's move on. Let's
Okay.
move on to the next one.
Yeah, let's move on to Habs and Buffalo, and I will preface this. We're going to try and keep this. I mean, we actually talked about this first series a decent amount, so that gives us some more
Yeah.
leeway to talk about the Habs one, but we're going to try and not be too much homers. You got to forgive us for the last episode. We were just riding the high of that Game 7. It was literally the night
Did
before
people
we
make
recorded.
comments? I didn't see
No,
any negative
actually,
comments.
this is only coming from my dad, actually.
So tell your dad to stay in line. What the hell?
He listened to the episode and he said, "Great episode. You guys are real Habs homers, though, eh?" And I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
"Okay, if that's the first comment, then from someone who already has to love the podcast, because he's my dad, then and
You don't
I
have
feel,
to.
I feel like a few other people have said mentioned how we spent a lot of time on talking about the Habs. Look,
We just won Game 7 against Tampa.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. I was saying, hey, it's nothing against it. I'm just saying we'll try and be a bit more mindful about it.
We're gonna win the Stanley
going
Cup. You're gonna be
forward.
like, well, don't talk about it too much. Like,
No, I mean, we win the Stanley Cup. That's all there is to talk about. But anyways, getting into the series of the best team in the world and the Buffalo Sabres. It is currently 2-1 series for Montreal. We are recording the day after Game 3. That was a monster game, 6-2 win for the Habs in Montreal. It's feeling pretty electric right now. It's tough because, as I mentioned in a previous episode, for me, when we lose a game, we're never going to win again. And when we win a game, we're never going to lose again. So it's hard, especially this is the first time the Habs have scored 5+ goals in back-to-back playoff games since 2006, which is honestly
it's crazy.
and also crazy that I just remembered that because
Yeah.
that's I just read that maybe last night when I was, after you win,
He
you
has it
go
on his
online.
palm, guys. Don't ask him not to show his hand.
I won't show my hands because I'm AI, not because it's on my palm. But after like a win, when you go just read every single comment and message board and just revel in it. So I was
watch
doing
every
that.
interview.
Yeah, exactly. So I was doing that. Man, Dobish is just a monster.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it. What are you guys feeling about this series so far? What's been a standout for you?
Go ahead, Jakey.
Okay, let's try. Tell me if you like this. We start with Buffalo, and then we get into the
Fine.
Montreal of it all.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think that I guess overall matchup kind of thing. I expected us to lose the first game. I'm actually very bad at predicting playoff stuff, so I'm not riding a high horse, but I'm so far very accurate with the way I saw this. Because what happened is I felt like the Canadiens spent the whole lead up to the playoffs and everything preparing for Tampa, who was such a wagon, that when Buffalo came in and they're like a high flying team, but they're not as shut down. Like they don't have a Cirelli, they don't have I mean, Tage is a fantastic player. They don't have like a true superstar like Kucherov that they have to strategically play all the time, So I think that I'm not surprised we lost the first game and that they scored a lot of goals. But I really think from here on in, I mean, we've shown that we can take them down pretty easily, and I think that it's going to be a very. It's not going to go to 7. I think it's going to go to 6, maybe even 5. And it looks
Whoa,
like the
okay,
Habs
his
are the
tune
better team.
changed.
Yeah, it looks like the Habs are the better team. I really like when the team is on their heels and they don't know which goalie to play.
Yeah, it's
So
true.
I was gonna mention is, do you guys think
yeah.
6K is coming in next game?
Yeah, I think you
Yes.
have to. After back-to-back games like that for Line, I think you have to. And it's
Yeah,
not because Line played bad. Like the goals weren't
Exactly.
necessarily all on him, but
The
at some
first
point you need
period
to.
of the game last game, it felt like Line was gonna steal them the game because the Habs were just dominating, and we left the period tied 1-1, and he was just making ridiculous save after ridiculous save. But the thing is, if you just keep dominating, eventually they start going in.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't blame him, but I also think 6K is starting the next one.
Yeah, bright spot. I will say Benson looks really good out
He looks
there.
insane.
Yeah, such a pest.
I was gonna say, there's a reason why I held him the whole season while he was on my IR, and then cut him as soon as I had the choice. But I'm a little worried for Buffalo because they're running into the same problems that kind of like some of these other playoff teams have been doing, where the stars aren't really producing. I feel like their offense has dried up. It's been literally all Benson and like some Josh Doan, but like, you know, at a certain point, you need some other guys to do something, right?
Well, Tage Thompson scored 53 seconds into the game.
Yeah.
After, did you guys see that in game 2 when he like spun out and it led to the Carrier goal?
Yeah.
I really want, if anyone in the Discord is good at making memes, I really want to see his spin out turned into. You remember that shooting star meme? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I wish I did.
Anyways, if anyone listening knows what I'm talking about,
is it like the Super Smash Bros. shooting
No,
star?
it's like
that? Oh.
It's that song is like do 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 do.
Oh yeah, I know that. I do
that.
Yes.
So like take that and then you turn it into him just like floating in the air. That song going. I would love to see that. I'm just not good enough at multimedia or whatever.
Is that called the shooting star meme?
I think so. I don't know.
Okay, I hope. Anyways, you guys know what it means. After he did that sound effect, everybody knows.
Yeah.
I thought we were gonna muscle memory into the Stardew Valley theme, but
That was close. But yeah, no, I fully agree.
Yeah. If you're looking at the stats of, you know, top players, let's say out of both the West and the East, it feels like the top guys in the West on their team, you know, Kaprizov, Quinn Hughes, Eichel, McKinnon. Yeah, all these guys, like they're the ones who are
Boldy.
Yeah, Boldy. Anyway, they're the ones who are like leading their team in points pretty substantially, and then in the East, that's not the case at all.
What do you mean, Alex Newhook, the best goal scorer
There
on
you
the
go.
they traded a
my
first
point.
round pick for him.
I mean, Suzuki is, I think, the Habs' leading scorer these playoffs as the time of this recording, and so is Thompson with like a point per game. But let's say Marner has 16 points in 10 games,
Yeah,
and
that's crazy.
Suzuki has 9 in 10.
Yeah.
Right? So it's one of those things that I just feel like I've noticed this trend too, where it's really the second line and the depth players that are, you know, holding their own, especially in the Eastern Conference matchups.
I wonder if it's just like the East is really playing so strongly defensively against the top guys that it both shuts them down but frees up space. I mean, that's what we were talking about in the Tampa series with the Habs, right? We were saying, you know, by the time we get to round 2, Buffalo plays a very different style. They can't shut them down as much. We expect to see more normal gameplay of the top line scoring and less from the bottom lines, but that hasn't really happened. Maybe they studied the tapes of what Tampa did and were like, let's try and do that. And they're shutting down the top guys as effectively, but they're just not as good at shutting down the rest. Or I don't know, but it's been a very strange trend that I've noticed also, and it is interesting that it's more in the East than the West, because even like the teams that got eliminated, even actually at the start of the LA series, McKinnon went pointless in 2 games, and then Crosby went pointless the first I think 3 games with the Philly series. All these top guys were just not showing up. I mean, the Habs guys. Suzuki's 9 points in 10 games. How many of those are power play points or secondary assists or assists on empty net? You know, I think that like our top line, almost all their points are power play points. What's crazy to me is that before like the game last night, Slav scored another power play goal, right? He has 4 goals all on the power play. He got a hat trick game 1 of the playoffs and then didn't get another goal until last night. Right? Again, all in the power play. I don't know. It's still concerning. I think your top guys have to show up, but it is also nice to see these depth guys kind of like, you know, especially as a neutral fan when you're watching not your series, it's always more fun when the random guys score because you just see how excited they get and stuff, especially in OT. So it's cool. But yeah, in terms of in Buffalo, I think that I'm a bit worried that goal last night for Thompson, even though they ended up getting shelled 6-2. Maybe it will help wake him up a bit. I'm hoping that some of these power play action could help Caulfield wake up because I don't know what's going on with him. He's been
He's got a
getting a
monkey
lot.
on his back.
Yeah, I mean, because he's been getting good chances. He just hasn't been putting them in the net. But for Buffalo, Dahlin has also been a standout to me. I think he's been fantastic. He's had a couple goals, a couple great plays, and it'll be interesting to see how Buffalo adjusts. I wonder if they're gonna. I think just goalie change, maybe. I don't know if they're gonna switch up their lines at all. But the
I think they
Habs,
should.
I mean, look, the Habs switched up their lines, and honestly, some of these lines are just popping off, and they're so random, right? Demidov, Evans, and Newhook is just a monster line. Obviously, we have our classic Bolduc, Dach, and Texier, which is just our best line.
Sexy Texi.
Bringing Joe Veleno in has been pretty nice. Also, he had a noticeably good game. He was playing, I think, with Bolduc and Dach last night. But yeah, it's I'm loving the depth from the Habs. Dobson being back is just a massive addition, and Lane Hudson. I mean, at what
I wanted to talk about Lane Hudson.
Yeah, right. Is he? If the Habs win the cup,
he's the best.
He's Conn Smythe, right? I know it's between him and Dobish if the Habs win the cup, but I don't know.
You'll give the Dobish for sure, but I feel like Hudson, is there? It's just you guys. You watch him play, the things he can do, man.
62nd overall, by the way.
It's
second round pick.
He was quote unquote too small.
Yeah.
When has size ever mattered?
Exactly. It's how you use it. But yeah, no, he's nuts. I mean, to me at this point, he's in the conversation. He's a top 5 defenseman. I'd go obviously Makar and Hughes, Werenski.
We're talking fantasy.
And then I'm talking real life.
No, real life?
I'm talking real life. Yeah, Makar, Hughes, Werenski, Dahlin, and then I'm putting Hudson at 5 there.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like the only bad part to his game is his defensive abilities, and even that I feel like has come such a long way. And he's still young, so he's gonna be making mistakes. But give him a few more years of experience. I feel like with the way he skates, he can be a top tier defenseman just with the finesse that he has there.
I feel like he's solid defensively. I don't feel like I watch games and I'm nervous of him being a defensive liability. I think Bouchard gets too bad of a rap for it, but at the same time, he is a bit of a defensive liability. I don't see Hudson the same way. Maybe it's just perception, all that. But when I'm watching the games, I don't get stressed out when he's on the ice defensively. And also, with his speed,
I think I'm happy.
Yeah, exactly. It's okay, he's safe. It's one of our.
Nobody's gonna outskate him.
That's it. And it's kind of crazy seeing him go all the way up the ice. He'll be behind the opposing team's net. They'll break it out, get a 2-on-1, and who's racing back and makes it back in time? It's Hudson. He's just that fast, and he puts in that much effort every shift. It's I don't know when have we ever had in our lifetimes a player like this on the Habs?
I'm so happy we have him, and I listen to him talking in interviews and stuff, and the way his mind works and how he's breaking down plays and stuff. You can see this kid loves hockey. I feel like he does. I feel like he knows nothing else besides hockey, and it's insane to watch. He's so impressive. I can't believe that we have him on our team.
He's on the last year of his entry level contract this year. Next year he begins an 8.85 times 8 contract.
What a steal!
Makar and Quinn Hughes are literally going to be making double that. That's not even exaggeration. With the cap going up, Makar is about to re-sign a contract that's going to be double what Hudson makes. I don't care how good Makar is.
And the Slav contract.
Yeah.
Guys, we are set up.
I don't care how good Makar is. I'd rather Hudson at his contract versus Makar at the contract he's going to sign.
No doubt.
Yeah.
It's a good time to be a Habs fan.
Oh yeah.
I think, and I've loved what I've seen from Kirby Dach.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
To be able to have that bounce back. Yeah, I mean, honestly, we were writing him off as injury prone, can never make the NHL and stay on a team because he just had so many injury issues. But he really brings an intensity. When you have a fourth line with Bolduc and Dach, and actually Veleno, like you said, has been pretty solid. We have a really deep team, and this kind of goes back to what you were saying earlier. This is St. Louis genius. It's important, to have a coach who's able to do this. Yeah. And so I wonder, like you guys were alluding to, if Buffalo makes that switch and actually starts putting different players on different lines. Right now, Jason Zucker has been invisible. I don't even think it's he's not even playing, but he's such an important piece for them during the year. And he was a very solid player for them. And I don't know why. No disrespect to Jack Quinn. Actually, for fantasy, by the way, sleeper pick next year. Keep that in mind. I've been saying this for years, and I think I'm finally not wrong. I'm not going to say right, but finally not wrong. But still, change it up and put put Zucker on that power play 1.
I mean, they actually
and
just changed
do
up that power
something.
play last game. They mentioned it a few times on the broadcast. It was Darlene, Thompson, and then they had Doan, Benson, and Quinn. And it was
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
yeah. But
Oh,
that
you're
was
saying it
new.
was okay.
That was actually
Okay.
new. They had just brought that combination for last game. They scored a power play goal, and their power play actually looked really good. But yeah, it's tough because if you're doing line blender because you're out of ideas and it just doesn't work, then it kind of feels like you're scrambling. If
Mhm.
you do line blender and it just everything clicks, like it feels like with the Habs, right? A lot
Yeah.
of these lines, you look at them and you're like, that's super random. Why is Evans playing line 2C? You know, I love the guy, but he's always been a 3 or 4C like shutdown
Mhm.
guy, right? And now he's playing line 2C and it's just working. That fourth line is working. Every line just makes sense right now. So that's kind of where the line blender could be good. And I mean, Lindy Ruff
Yeah.
is a finalist for the Jag Adams, right?
Mhm.
He's no slouch. He brought Buffalo to
Absolutely.
where they are right now this year.
I think he wins it.
You think so?
I mean, look what he did with Buffalo. Like, they were the worst team in the league for a certain part of this season, right? Let's not forget they were like on a
Yeah.
massive losing streak, and then for where they finished the season and they won a playoff round, I think just expectations to result, he was the biggest.
Yeah. I think it's hard to beat that narrative also, right?
Yeah.
Because it's all people voting. It's all subjective.
Yeah.
It's hard not to vote for the guy who broke a 16-year playoff drought, right? Because
Yeah.
it's not like the roster changed that much year over year. So you got to give some credit to the coaching. But yeah, so I'm not really ready to count Buffalo out by any means. And one thing that I am worried about with the Habs is it felt like in the Tampa series we had so many opportunities to just shut them down and
Yeah.
knock them out of the playoffs. We were up 1-0. If we had gone up 2-0 in Tampa, I think we're this game it's not going to get 7. We were up 2-1. If we made it 3-1 in Montreal, it's not going to 7.
Yeah.
And it's like we had plenty of opportunities to just knock them out of the series. We were up 3-2. We could have ended in game 6. We had 3 opportunities to take that 2-game lead and we didn't take it. So it'll be interesting to see if they have that kind of killer instinct, because we know when the going gets tough, the Habs could hit another gear and they can play like no other and
Mhm.
come back and win. But I want to see them win when it's not do or die, when they could just, not give us all heart attacks pretty much.
Show of strength and just prove that we are the better team and like win no matter what type of thing.
Absolutely. So I think the next game obviously is going to be massive. The difference between a 3-1 series and a 2-2 is massive. So very interesting to see what happens there. Are there any other notes that you guys wanted on this series before we move on?
I have to touch on 2 things. Dobesh, first of all, he's been incredible, right? Like, are you guys? I saw some of the panelists on Sportsnet and stuff talk about like his emotional outbursts like after every goal and stuff. Like, how do you guys
Yeah.
feel about that?
They
I
are
love
so
that.
dumb. They're so dumb, these panelists.
Oh.
Like, oh my god, how dare
wait.
he have an emotion or anything like that.
Yeah.
First of all, goalies are crazy, and that's
Yeah.
what makes the game one of the things that makes hockey such an amazing sport. It's so fun having these wacky characters. Some people's biggest complaints about hockey players is that they're too boring, but no one's ever said that about goalies. They're always fun.
Mhm.
Let him have
Or
his moment.
Especially Ilya Brizgalov.
Yeah.
I don't know if
Why you don't have
anyone
to be mad?
listening.
It's only a game.
The universe is so big. And whenever I let in a goal, I just. Oh man, sorry.
Devin
what were
Cooley
you-
also on the Flames. He's pretty hilarious.
Yeah.
But no. So, anyways, they're so old school, being like, "Oh, this guy shouldn't show emotion, whatever." No, that's stupid. Let the guy do his thing. Clearly, it's working for him, and I think people are just overthinking it. Even when earlier this year, right, when things weren't going so well, and there was that moment where he had a bad game, and I think he like cried a bit or whatever.
Yeah.
And it got blown so out of proportion. It's 2026. If a guy can't show his emotions, why people are going to the players' assistance program and people are accepting it? Why can't you accept a goalie being upset that he lost? It just shows that he cares.
Or happy
Anyways.
that his team scored or something. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. I
Yeah.
think it's
I guess
ridiculous
it's like
that
a
people
show of like arrogance. Like people are like, oh, don't be too arrogant. Like the game's not over.
You need
I don't
the
know if that's what it's
swagger.
based in.
The best
but, yeah.
players in every sport have swagger.
Yeah.
The hockey players, obviously, a big thing with them is the humility and
Yeah.
all that. But at the end of the day, when a guy is playing at the top of his game, you need to have that swagger because it feeds into each other.
All the players are celebrating. Why can't the goalie celebrate?
Yeah.
I don't know.
The thing I love most about Dobesh is the way that he involves himself with the team, and that's
Yeah.
where it kind of culminates.
Mhm.
But even just sometimes it looks scary. It's like, okay, yo, don't do that. Don't go out like that much, but it's
Yeah, yeah.
good and it's effective. And honestly, I mean, I'm sure at one point it'll come back to bite him in the behind, but it really has not yet. Like, he's really good at playing the puck, going out there and just being involved in the play. Price used to do that in a much more low-key way that didn't seem as crazy as the way
As
Dobeš does
scary
it.
as a fan watching.
Exactly, but it's just him being involved and showing how much he cares and you know, that manifesting. Like, it feels like his crease is the hash marks. It's not the blue paint. It's like he's just
so
the way
far
he
out.
challenges, and he's a ginormous guy. He's like 6'5", so like he's a big goalie,
Blue
and
eyes.
he challenges. And what?
Blue eyes,
Yeah,
finance.
yeah.
So-
And he's also hilarious. He said that thing,
He is.
the quote last game about like people think I'm a hero. I don't consider myself a hero. I'm just a goofy goalie who's probably gonna go home, eat, and watch Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
So relatable.
Yeah.
Yeah. So big
and
fan.
The other thing I wanted to mention was I've seen a lot of this on social media, and I've gotten major FOMO. I have not obviously had the opportunity to go to the Bell Center to watch a playoff game yet, but man, there's a reason why it's the mecca of hockey, and I feel like everybody's finally like realizing it. I'm seeing people from like that don't even watch hockey being interested in the sport and like seeing the Bell Center and how Montreal is for a hockey team. And it just honestly makes my heart full seeing like everybody appreciate the culture here and how like everybody, the whole city just like breathes this team. And when Montreal's doing well and we're in playoff hockey, I feel like there's no other place you want to be. It's just like I see it walking down the street, everybody's got their jerseys on. It's not even game day. Like, it's just nuts.
Yeah.
It's awesome. It reminds me when in 2021 I was living about 10-minute walk from the Bell Center, and I would watch the games at home, and then after that I would walk to the Bell Center and just be out there in the crowd going nuts.
And everybody's just there partying.
Yeah.
That was COVID. That's when people were supposed to be inside. Like, it's true.
The
though,
restrictions were starting to get
that was like a quote
alleviated.
toned down version, and even that was like pretty wild, you know?
Yeah, it's
Like,
crazy.
I mean, you were allowed to walk outside, but the point is, like, people just like didn't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The whole
So,
city, you can feel it in the air. It's just all the cliches are just accurate because it, like, if you're there, you know. If you go, you know.
Yeah.
I had a friend, a guy on one of my hockey teams here in Pennsylvania. He actually had a work trip to Montreal this week, and he went to the game last night. And he was texting me the whole time. He was saying, "This is the most insane ambiance I've ever experienced, and my ears are
Yeah.
going to be shot for the next week." It's just crazy. I'm so mad. I'm coming to Montreal Wednesday to Saturday morning. And the Habs play in Montreal Tuesday and Saturday night, so I'm just missing it. I would have 100% gone, and so I'm pretty bummed about that. But hopefully, I could maybe next round.
You can know when they're winning just by being like in the general vicinity of downtown and hearing the madness. Like, you just know what's happening. Like, my friend from work like does not watch hockey, and he was like, "So the Habs are doing pretty well." I was like, "Oh, did you watch?" He was like, "No, just keep hearing people yelling and celebrating." So it's like really cool in that way.
On
Yeah.
that exciting note, let's move on to the West.
Let's talk about Vegas.
Okay, let's start with that
Love it.
Vegas Anaheim series. They are currently tied 2-2 series. Super close. I haven't been able to stay up for the games. It's so frustrating, but they're just too late for a guy who has a baby. But I've been watching all the highlights. I actually haven't missed a single highlight package of a single game yet this playoffs. That's kind of my goal for the playoffs, is not to miss any. And it's been an unreal series. And we kind of talked about this last episode, right? Our prediction was kind of like, we were saying either Vegas, if it ends in 4 or 5, we think Vegas is winning it. But if it goes to 6 or 7, we think Anaheim's winning it, right? That was kind of at least, yeah, exactly. At least that's what me and Jakey were saying. I think Kevin was all on Vegas, but
I was on Vegas.
But we were saying if Anaheim shows that they can hang with Vegas, we think that they're going to take it. So right now it's going pretty much exactly as we predict. I mean, I think we all had. No, you had Vegas in like 5, right? Something.
No.
I don't remember.
Check our show doc, but
I know I had Anaheim in 7. So no, Jakey had Anaheim in 5, right?
you guys, I had Vegas in 6. Jakey had Anaheim in 6, and you had Anaheim in 7.
Okay, cool. So we're all still in it
We're all
right now.
still in it.
Yeah, we're all still in it, and it's honestly it's great to see. Vegas is a wagon, and I feel like they're still the favorites. But I love what I'm seeing from Anaheim, and I still think they can get it done.
Yeah,
I think it's anybody's series at this point. I didn't have Mark Stone getting hurt on my bingo card, which I probably should
Did
have.
he really
but
not?
I should have.
That was my middle circle, the free one.
Yeah, I just think that Anaheim, the reason I think that they're gonna win is because they're very deep. Like we're talking about all these other teams that are very deep, except their
Mm-hmm.
top is scoring, and like their top line. And I feel like maybe I'm wrong, but it's not as apparent that they're getting a lot of depth out of Vegas, except for Brett Howden.
Oh my god,
Caveat:
this
Brett
guy's
Howden's been
nuts.
sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like the
Yeah.
last playoff run also he was insane for them. Like this has happened in the playoffs where he's come up really clutch.
I mean, I still think about the
But
shorthanded goal that he got the last series.
Wow, he has like 3 shorties this playoffs.
Yeah,
It's
it's nuts.
crazy. But I mean,
Should
is he
have him
really
in
depth?
fantasy.
Is it really depth? I feel like isn't he playing on a line with Marner and Carlson, like the second
I,
line?
I guess I just mean like
But
groups
yeah,
of like less high key players, right? Like
100%.
so yeah. They're both teams that have a lot of star power. Vegas is a little bit more top heavy, but I mean Carter Hart has been inconsistent, right?
Both goalies
If
have
they
been.
Yeah,
yeah,
I wouldn't give the edge to either of them. Honestly, both goaltenders like haven't really stolen either games for either team.
yeah, but I don't know. I like it.
I'm
I
still on
still believe in
I'm still on
Anaheim.
Vegas because I think when it's 2-2 now, right? The series. I feel like now it's like if you want to win the series, you got to win a close game. And if I have to choose one team to win a close game, I'm gonna go Vegas.
I mean, Anaheim just
But
won 4-3. That's a pretty close game.
yeah, but they were winning like 4-2, I
Okay,
think.
yeah, that's fair.
Um,
Yeah, but
so
what about the Mark Stone injury? That's a
yeah,
massive
honestly,
loss.
massive loss. Do we have news on it, how much time he's gonna miss? With Mark Stone, it could be months, it could be days,
Yeah,
could be hours.
He could be playing
month
right
to
now.
month, 4 days, day to day, 4 months.
Exactly.
But I think in general, I still the reasoning that I had going into the series is the same reasoning that I'm keeping now. I said Vegas in 6. I feel like it's just gonna be kind of like the same thing where it's gonna come down to a close game, and I'm giving the edge to Vegas. It could be Vegas in 7, but I'm rooting for Anaheim. Don't get me wrong. I'm
Yeah,
rooting for
yeah.
Anaheim. I hope they can get it done and prove me wrong. I think both teams get slapped by the winner of this next series.
I think that's
transition there.
the
Yeah.
coldest take out there. I think everyone is saying that.
Well, listen, I've had a lot of hot takes apparently, so now this finally a chance to get
Yeah.
a cold one.
Yeah, I will say also in terms of injuries for Vegas, obviously losing Mark Stone is way more impactful, but getting back William Karlsson, he missed
Yeah.
most of the season. And after the game where Marner got the Hattie, right? Also, we have to talk about
Mhm.
Marner, but he was talking about just how big of an impact having William Karlsson back
Mhm.
in the lineup is for them. And he has been crucial for their past playoff success. So even though he's kind of not a big name, I think he is a big impact player. But yeah, let's talk about Marner, right?
Mhm.
Leading the team. Is he leading the team 16 points?
He's got
He's
it.
Last I
leading
checked.
the playoffs.
The play.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But not leading
Next
the
is
team now, okay.
Kaprizov. But yeah,
Yeah.
16 points in 10 games.
That's I'd say that's pretty good. I'd say that's not a playoff choker. If you
How many points does Matthews have these playoffs?
Oh.
Okay, the Leafs fans will come for me. You guys already got
Get
blessed
him.
with McKenna.
Yeah,
I can't-
that's crazy.
Yeah,
So
we don't have to
quick
go into
side-
that, but
Quick side
yeah.
tangent on the lottery.
I'm
Yeah,
so
we haven't talked
disappointed.
about that, eh?
So disappointed.
Toronto, and San Jose. I mean, they're not beating
Bless
the
for San
rigged
Jose.
allegations. I mean, it's actually crazy. All the stats about Vancouver's luck in the lottery
Yeah.
since their inception as a team is kind of a joke. You feel
I feel
like
so bad for them.
it's actually it's nuts, and
They
it
deserved
sucks.
it this year.
Yeah, it's tough because they talk about like Bettman will see this and he'll say, "You see, this is why you don't get don't get rewarded for tanking."
Mhm.
But at the same time, you kind of are rewarding teams for tanking because Vancouver didn't tank; they're just an awful team,
Yeah.
right? Whereas a
Probably
team like, I mean, yeah, I guess, but no, not even. They weren't gonna do better than last place realistically with that
Mhm.
roster, especially with Quinn Hughes leaving. And then you look at a team like Toronto, who just got blessed because of the lottery. They're not the worst team in the league. They're not even, they finished bottom 5. But this is an off year for them. They actively, they shut down Matthews earlier than they had to, right? I mean, maybe not. He actually got injured, but still, they were shutting down players left and right. That's kind of my view of that's more rewarding teams for tanking as opposed to not rewarding them. It's honestly, I think that this whole lottery system was made to avoid the tanking, but I think in the end it actually leads to teams that are bad staying bad for longer and teams that are good getting gifts out of nowhere and kind of revitalizing their rebuilds and their teams. I don't know what you guys think.
I think San Jose is going to be such a sick team.
Yeah.
Like, my God. I mean, it's as much as McKenna is the guy who's going to go first overall.
Imagine he
Stenberg,
doesn't.
I mean, I don't think. No, I think he has to.
Yeah.
I
There's no way
but
they're gonna big brain
Stenberg,
that. Yeah.
yeah, Stenberg's like supposed to be right up there with him. Amazing. You put him on the wing with Celebrini. I mean, it's sick. I hope that they don't go defenseman just for the sake of
I
we
don't
need
think
a
they
D
will.
man. It's
I will
happened.
say
But
It
I
has
hope they
happened.
don't.
I feel like the NHL has been behind on this in terms of like the draft of just taking best player available. I feel like we've seen it so much in recent years where we're like, okay, this right hand D, let me take
Kotkaniemi.
him, or yeah, like we
Yeah.
really need center. Let's take this guy. What is you know, just take the best player available and figure it out. Especially with these guys that are so young, that they're not even going to contribute in the NHL for like multiple years. Like, just take the best player that has the best chance of becoming an NHL superstar at his position.
Yeah.
Figure the rest out later.
You can figure it out through trades or
Yeah.
through, free agency or whatever. You can figure it out. Always take best player available. Same as in fantasy early on in the draft. I think you just take best player available and then figure out the positions
Like,
later
imagine
on.
we didn't take Ryan Backer.
I know.
Well, it would have been
Ma-
Michkov, in all fairness.
Yeah.
Or
No,
that
maybe
random guy that who did they take? The Coyotes. I think it was the Coyotes who picked sixth.
Yeah. I don't
It was
remember.
some.
We could have
They're
had
not
Ryan
even a
Leonard.
team anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, fully
But
agree.
But
it's
that Mitch
tough.
Marner, eh?
Yeah, exactly. Back to back to that. So are we? So what do we think the deal is with that? With him being? Is it just Vegas is just a better team than Toronto was those years? Because Toronto was a pretty strong team those years, right? They were killing in the regular season, and Marner was getting uh, most of the blame for
Mhm.
all their playoff woes, right?
He got all the blame.
For some reason, it never fell on Matthews. I mean, he got some, but Marner was definitely the figurehead.
Mhm.
Nylander would actually put up points, so he didn't get much blame. Fair enough. But Marner leaves, goes to another team, and is suddenly the best points guy in the NHL in the playoffs. I don't know. I think it was just the team chemistry. I think also you keep running it back with the same core group, and you keep having the same results. It's a mental thing, right?
Mhm.
He doesn't have that here in Vegas. It's a fresh start. He knows how good of a player he is. Getting rid of a 100+ point guy because he doesn't show up in the playoffs to me is just this. It's the same as getting rid of a star player because the coach doesn't like him. I'm taking the guy who has the 100+ points and figuring out how to make him work in the playoffs. But I mean, I guess the Leafs tried to do that and that didn't work.
And he doesn't have to be talismanic on Vegas. Like, they got the Eichel, they got the Mark Stone. Like, whether you like Mark Stone or not, like, his name is gonna be up there when you talk about like the best players on Vegas. And I feel like he could just like slot in right there as like a support character that can also just like run the game when he needs to. And this is what we're seeing. I feel like this is Mitch Marner when he doesn't have like the pressure of an entire city on his shoulders. So I'm happy. I'm happy for him. I was never a big Marner hater. I always felt like Toronto just kind of did him dirty a little bit, making him the scapegoat in a lot of situations. Do I think like he could have played better? Obviously, yeah. But I wonder if Toronto fans are looking back and being like, we should have probably either traded Nylander or done something else and kept Marner, maybe got rid of Tavares or something. Like, I don't know. I don't know what the solution is, but
The
maybe it
solution
wasn't what
is
they
getting
did.
is winning first overall in the lottery.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that works out for them. But yeah, I
Yeah.
think should we go to the last series that we haven't spoken about yet?
Yeah, we should.
All right, last series is playing tonight. They actually have started their game already. What's the
It's
score?
1-0 Minnesota, and the second period is about to commence.
Okay.
Oh, wait,
And
by
it is
the
currently
way,
2-1. Yeah.
Yeah. Before getting into this, it was Dmitry Simashev, 6
Oh,
overall by
yeah.
Arizona,
True.
2023.
Nice.
Just to say. Sorry, carry on.
Yeah, so it's currently 2-1 series Colorado. Before the last game of the series, when it was 2-0 Colorado, I was starting to think that nothing could stop them. I thought they were just going to cruise to 16-0. I mean, no, obviously they were going to lose to the Habs in the finals, but it really it's hard when a team just keeps winning like that. It's in the playoffs. It's hard to think they're ever going to lose, especially going 2-0 against Minnesota, which we thought was going to give them a much harder time. But then Game 3 happens, and Minnesota does show up and give them a much harder time. And now all of a sudden we have a series. Colorado actually switched their starting goalie, right? They were going with Mackenzie Blackwood tonight instead of Scott Wedgwood, which is not surprising based on how the first 3 games of the series went, and also not surprising based on kind of the advantage of having a tandem like that is that when one of the goalies kind of falters, you can go to the other one. I'm curious to see how Blackwood does after not having played for like a month. But yeah, we're seeing maybe a bit of cracks in Colorado's armor. I still think they take the series, but we never thought Minnesota was going to be a cakewalk. That's why I was actually more surprised by them going up 2-0 in what seemed like pretty easy fashion, as opposed to Minnesota winning a game here.
Yeah, I'm very impressed by their resilience to be able to win without Eriksson.
Yeah.
And Ryan Hartman's such an underrated player. He's one of those like not great for fantasy guys, but
I invented Ryan Hartman.
It's true.
Do you remember when I picked him up at fantasy like 3 years ago and he was like the surprise 1C?
Yeah.
You're welcome, Ryan Hartman.
Seriously. He apparently found out he got traded from Philly like 3 days later because he was on a camping trip with no reception.
I remember that.
So it's just another one of Philly's potentially questionable,
Ryan Hartman, Cutter Gauthier, who's next?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, look, I'm still on Team Colorado because I think they're just too good. But I mean, it's I thought it was more, let's say 80-20, and now I'm thinking it's like 65-35 type thing. And Wallstedt, man, what a guy. He's so good. He is so good. It's just, yeah, I don't know.
I mean, we forget to mention, well, we did forget to mention, we just haven't mentioned yet, that after game 1, they went to Gustafsson, right? Like,
yeah.
And then they made the goalie swap.
I said that was
we
gonna
talked
happen,
about,
by the way.
You did. I remember when I saw it happen, I was like, Jiggy literally just said this was going to happen.
But then they went back to Wallstedt, and then he was excellent in game 3, right? So, I mean, I remember on the pod being the only one that was like kind of like fighting for Minnesota a little harder than the two of you guys. I know you guys were both cemented in the Colorado camp. Obviously, they're arguably one of the best teams. But I don't know if they can pull this off and go to game 5 with it being 2-2, and that they still haven't had Eriksson back. I think I would be scared if I'm a Colorado fan. Like this game 4 that we're currently watching right now, I feel like the series is in, because Minnesota's not coming back from 3-1, right? Like it can be 3-1, it could go 3-2, it can go to game 7. I feel like Colorado still got it. They won't lose 3 games in a row.
Yeah.
But if Minnesota wins tonight, I feel like they're going to be in the driver's seat here, especially if they start getting healthy.
I mean, Colorado also, another thing to note, Arturi Lekkonen's out tonight, which is a pretty big loss because he is one of the clutchest guys in the playoffs. I mean, he did it for the Habs before we traded him, right? He brought us to the Cup Finals against Vegas by beating Vegas, but he's super clutch in the playoffs, so that's actually a big loss. I know it's not necessarily as big a name of one of the top guys, but I think that's a big loss for Colorado. So
it's noticeable.
If Eriksson comes back, Lekkonen stays out, and Minnesota, I mean, it's a lot of ifs, but if Minnesota wins this and those things happen, I think that's a big shift for sure.
Yeah, because I feel like we haven't really talked about the Minnesota injuries. I mean, we're talking about them, but we're not. It feels like we're not discounting them as much. Like it's a pretty big deal when they lost Zuccarello for a few games. Like in the first series, they lost their number 1 seed technically for the start of this series, and they're playing tough competition too. So I'm really liking what I'm seeing from this Minnesota team. Like Quinn Hughes, honestly, like it's like when I watch him and when I watch Lane Hudson, I feel special. You know, I'm like, wow, I feel lucky I'm able to watch them both on the ice.
Yeah,
I've really become a Quinn Hughes lover. These last few weeks, just watching these playoff hockey, I'm just amazed at what these guys can do on the ice. And we haven't even talked about Makar. It feels like he's been kind of quiet but still delivering. So it's special.
He's not standing out as much as Quinn Hughes.
No, exactly. Quinn Hughes feels like he's very talismanic for this team. Like
well, it just feels kind of like a You're really using the talismanic a lot this episode. I love it.
Hey,
but,
if the shoe fits,
you know, if the talisman fits.
Quinn Hughes, talisman. Makar, lack of form. Talismanic or in form or out of form. I guess that's what it would be.
Those are the two options. But yeah, I mean, with Quinn Hughes, it feels like he's got his career back by escaping Vancouver, and no shade to Vancouver fans. It sucks what you're going through with your team, but it really feels like he just got put in the perfect position to succeed. And essentially for all these years, right, it's been Vancouver fans who have been saying Hughes is as good as Makar, Hughes is as good as Makar, and the rest of the league is like, okay, bro, you know. but now he's on an actual team with some other superstars, and he's on a massive stage, right, second round of the playoffs, and he's showing it. And it's been very, very impressive. And we talked about it last episode in terms of fantasy for next year, how we view him as just as highly as Makar, and for the value at a pick, you know, we might even prefer him. So it's really crazy to see. And this really feels like a battle of the Titans. It kind of feels like like, I mean, we've said this, and I feel like
Mhm.
everyone's saying this. Whoever wins this is going to the Stanley Cup Finals. I mean, every series you never know what happens, but it's hard to dispute that when you look at these two teams versus Anaheim, Vegas.
Yeah, they just look clearly better.
Yeah, I'm just like if you look at their roster, it really feels like they're lacking centers because Eriksson Ek's not there, and
Mhm.
they're still able to win. So
Mhm.
it's just extremely impressive. Like
Against the team with the
Schreiber.
most center depth in the league.
Yeah,
Yes.
turns out you don't need centers.
Yeah, I think, Kadri definitely would be their top line center, and he's currently their third line center, like Colorado's.
Yeah.
And then their fourth, no, maybe Jack Drury would not be ahead of Hartman, but
I
still.
mean, Ross Colton would probably be ahead of Hartman.
Yeah, honestly.
Potentially, yeah.
And he's playing wing, but he could be their 4C. So with Eriksson Ek out, like, Avalanche definitely have a way deeper center depth. So let's why don't we wrap it up by saying our predictions for, we end every episode by saying our predictions. Obviously they may not have changed, but well, why don't you who wants to start us off?
Well, Carolina in 4.
Oh, you're good.
I think
Quick, head to the sports books.
Like I'm very, very confident in the Habs, and that's the ones in the West. I'm like, I have no idea. So I would say, what did I say originally? Habs
So you're
in 6.
confident in the one.
Habs in 5. I'm gonna go with Habs in 5. So I'm changing
Wow.
that from Habs in 6. Yeah. So hopefully that actually materializes. And then I had Colorado in 5, which I don't think is going to happen. So I think that that's going to be like Colorado in 7. And then my Anaheim in 6. I'm still confident in Anaheim in 6.
All right. And then the rest of the bracket?
Afterwards?
Yeah, why
Of
not?
course.
Oh, Colorado is going to beat Anaheim.
4-0.
No, the next matchup numbers? I don't know. I mean, yeah, probably five games max. But then the other side, I don't know. I don't want to say it. But hey, I thought Tampa was gonna win. So
It's
did.
true.
So
Say it with your
know.
chest if you're going to betray your people.
Yeah.
but it's good. I keep making these predictions that are like,
Wrong.
counter. Yeah, that's it. Okay, so I'm going to continue with my wrong predictions. Carolina will beat the Habs in 5.
Boo.
And then Colorado's going to beat Carolina in like 7.
Okay. Kevin, what do you got?
I got Carolina in 4.
Nice.
I got Habs in
Really?
6.
Yeah.
I got Vegas in 7. And I got Minnesota in 7. And if Minnesota loses tonight, then I got Colorado in 6. But Minnesota in 7. And then I think Minnesota beats Vegas, I think, in 6. And I have the Habs beating Carolina in 7. And then I got the Habs winning it all in 7.
Nice.
That'd be cool if
All
you
right.
got that Minnesota-Montreal thing right. I mean, like, it's
I
looking
told you.
possible. It's looking good.
EA Sports, they know what they're doing.
All right. I'm still going Philly in 7. Philly in 8, sorry. All right, yeah. So we got Carolina. I'm going to Habs in 6 still. And then in the West, I think I still got to go Colorado in 7 and Anaheim in 7. And then Habs are going to take it against Carolina. I'm going to say we're taking it against Carolina in 5.
Ooh.
Yeah. And I'm going to say
Wow.
that Colorado is going to take it versus Anaheim in 5 as well. And then the Habs are sweeping Colorado in the finals.
we set the tone down to homerism.
Could you imagine? Could you imagine that happens? Oh my god. That would
Okay.
be
Yeah.
wild.
Yeah.
Okay, last question to wrap it up. Okay, I have 2 last questions very quickly though. If the Habs didn't draft Reinbacher, would you have rather they take Ryan Leonard or Dalibor Dvorsky?
I'm a big Ryan Leonard fan.
yeah,
I would have gone Leonard.
Okay, I thought Jakey was gonna. I was giving him the layup to go Dvorsky because that was his boy.
That was his boy.
But we've heard it here first. So it's not surprising. No loyalty. So and
Dalibor, if you're listening.
And the other thing I was gonna say is, do you think how do you think the goalie situation is going to play out for Colorado? Like, do you think they're going to go back to Wedgwood? I think they go back to Wedgwood, and Wedgwood's just the guy for the rest of the series, in my opinion.
One
I mean, it
thing before
completely
we go on to the
depends.
next, this is super important. I actually would have picked Danil Boot over both.
No, you wouldn't.
Was Alex Bump
He was
drafted
actually
that year?
Zach Benson was pick number 13.
I actually
Zach
think
Benson
he
or
may
Ryan
have been. Zach Benson or Ryan Leonard?
Yeah.
I think
I'm going Leonard.
I think I'm going Benson.
Ooh, there we go.
Yeah, it's close though, but yeah, Benson's looking great. What was the other question? So, about Wedgwood and
goalies.
Blackwood.
Yeah.
I think that Wedgwood, Bump was not, Bonk was. Just saying.
Okay, I'm taking bonk. You get bonked and then you end up with a bump.
and Barky.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that Wedgwood's going to be the guy to bring them to glory if they are to win. Like,
I mean, I think in terms of, I think it completely depends on game by game. Like starting with tonight, if Blackwood has a good game, they're gonna keep going Blackwood, and if he has a bad game, they go back to Wedgwood. Are you asking me
If
to
he
predict how well
loses-
Blackwood's gonna do? I think if Blackwood loses, but it's like a 2-1 game, they're gonna give him the net the next game.
Interesting. Okay.
You guys think if they lose a 2-1 game, they're going to Wedgwood next one?
I think Wedgwood's the starter, and I think the loss gives them an opportunity to actually rest him.
Wedgwood's
And-
allowed in this series. What the game one was? They won 9-6. That was 6 goals. Game 2 was like 5-4. Game 3 they lost 5-1. He's let in almost 20 goals in 3 games.
Yeah, I
If
just
Blackwood
think
lets
he's
in 2 goals in a
yeah.
game and they
No,
lose,
listen,
they're
obviously
going
gonna
back
go
to
with
Blackwood.
performance, yeah, but I just feel like I don't know. I feel like just Wedgwood's just better, but yeah, they'll
Like,
definitely run with Blackwood if he has a good game. And if they lose
Yeah.
by a goal or 2, and it was a close game, like they'll probably ride with Blackwood again.
If your question is like for me to predict how tonight's going to go, and based on that make the decision, I could see them going back to Wedgwood. Maybe not next game, but the game after. I don't think Blackwood's going to string together 2 good games in a row, but it's so hard to predict. He hasn't played in a month, right?
Yeah.
So
Game
is there-
2, Wedgwood saved 29 on 31. So he actually had a good game.
I guess I made
too.
up that 4 goals.
And then game 3, yeah, he had a bad game, but yeah, I think it was just kind of like take this opportunity to rest. We still have the upper hand in the series.
Is there a
That's
reason
fair.
why Jacob Fowler was the 6th goalie drafted in 2023 draft? Like, those 5 other goalies that were clearly better than him.
I have no idea. I feel like this segment should be called Random Thoughts.
Yeah. Random
But-
thoughts at the end of the episode for sure.
I
I mean,
don't
that was
know.
another thing I thought would be interesting to talk about for next season is what do we think the Habs goalie situation is going to look like?
Dobish
right,
was
Obviously,
friends.
obviously Montembeau's
Yeah.
out, and Dobish is starter. But do we think Dobish and Fowler are going to be close to a tandem, or is it going to be Dobish full starter with Fowler as backup?
No,
Okay,
okay,
so-
Dobish
so-
full starter.
This can be a big deep dive, and I do want to do that at some point this offseason because there's a lot of
We
fun
will.
things that could happen. The reason I'm like hesitant to answer it now is because if he actually takes us to the Stanley Cup Finals, like this is his net moving forward.
Yeah, that's fair.
If they do lose like this round 2, Fowler was poised to be the goalie of the future for a while, and I'm actually like,
I still think he's a year
people
too
who-
young, though.
yeah, people who people are like real major Jacob Fowler fans is always like, comparing this Price Halak situation. Like this is, Dobesh's Halak, but no, I think that Dobesh is the guy who has deserved the upper hand, and it'd be a shame if they don't do it, even if they do lose this series round 2.
Mhm.
But if
Yeah.
they go into round 3 and then onto the Cup Finals, especially, and if they win, then like that's a golden ticket for Dobish. But otherwise, like, yeah, I think Dobish is safe to say that he's going to be the starter, but probably not like on a Vasilevsky level. Probably more like a solid 1A.
Okay, and now actual final last question.
Okay, last
one
one.
word
Last
answer.
one.
Who has been your favorite player to watch in these entire playoffs thus far? And I want everybody that's listening right now, if you're watching on YouTube, leave us a comment. Who has been the most exciting player that you have watched thus far in the playoffs? If you're in the Discord, let us know in the Discord as well. I'm so curious, but I think to me it has to be. I mean, I know we're Habs fans, but it's like Dobesh or Hudson. To me, it's like these are the 2 guys that so exciting.
Jakey, who you got?
So it's I'm gonna give a non-Habs answer, but it
Go
is
for
tough
it.
to watch all their games. just because it's on the West Coast. But like Leo Carlsson's been sick.
Yeah.
I think he's been fantastic. So I've been on the Leo Carlsson train for a while. This will evolve over the offseason and see what happens. But I think that Gauthier Carlsson could be one of those insane stacks for fantasy next year. And I'm just like maybe excited by that prospect. And that's why I'm so excited by this now. But just his play, I mean, his pass to Lacombe in game 1 or 2,
that was
whatever
nuts.
it
And
was.
Lacombe didn't shoot.
Ridiculous.
That
I
was
know. I know. That's a current defenseman, not a former forward.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what that is. So I'm gonna go with Leo Carlsson.
Yeah, I'm racking my brain trying to think of a more exciting answer or a more interesting answer, but I just don't understand. I don't know how I could not say Lane Hudson. It's I'm trying to think. I wanted to think.
It's like Hudson or Hughes.
I want to think on the Habs mainly because that's just I've watched every single game all the way through, whereas a lot of the other series has been mostly highlights, especially the West Coast. But I just can't think of a guy who's been more exciting to watch than Hudson. On the subject of the Ducks, actually, though, I think for me, Cutter Gauthier has been super impressive. I would love to have him on my team next year in fantasy. I think he's just a super phenomenal
Line 3,
player.
Cutter Gauthier?
Honestly, what he can do with, I mean, first of all, Anaheim.
Jiggy said him and Leo Carlsson are going to be the duo. You're talking about him and Ryan Paling. Like that's the duo right there.
No, the real goat is what is his name? Jeffrey VL. No, Brett Howden actually. That's the goat. No, it's been an awesome playoffs. The highlights have been unreal. I wish I could watch every single game. If that's the one downside of living on the East Coast, right? If you live on the West Coast, you can watch every game. So if you can watch during work or whatever, but even just getting to watch the highlights, it's been a phenomenal playoffs, and I can't wait to see where we go from here.
Cutter Gauthier is averaging 3.2 hits a game these playoffs so far.
3.2 hits.
Yep.
Oh my God, Brady Tkachuk
like a gazillion shots.
Man, I have to figure out how early I have to draft him next year to steal him from you guys.
This is actually insane. He's gonna be like a round 3 or 4 pick at this point.
It's too
he
rich
deserves it.
Or we're gonna get what we got with like Zach Hyman, where we're like he was monster hitting in the playoffs, and then he just did not do that during the regular season. We talked about that. So,
but the floor of like the points and the shots is still fine.
Yeah. So it's he's pretty exciting, and I will say some honorable mentions who are no longer in the playoffs. Porter Martone, that was fun.
Yeah, that was
and
fun.
Brandon Hagel, I'll never forget that save on Slavkovsky.
Oh my God! If it wasn't against the Habs, I would be so much more on the Brandon. I mean, no, it's over now. We won.
Pick. I'd be glazing him and then some.
Yeah, he was awesome. It was fantastic to watch him. It was every time he touched the puck, I was stressed. It was really crazy to watch. It's funny that it was Hagel and not Kucherov that really gave me that feeling over the course of the series.
Yeah.
Facts.
All right, that was a good one. Thank you to everybody for listening. I like this hashtag Kevin's random thoughts at the end of
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate it.
That was fun. But it was great to break down the series. By the time we're going to release the next episode, it's probably going to be all, if not most, of the teams in the conference finals.
Like we might get some, I guess, potentially some game 7s,
one
game 7 left or something. But overall, round 3 upon us.
I hope we're in a good mood at the next episode.
Yes, me too.
Yeah, if not, it's gonna be like 10 minutes.
We want the Habs to talk about it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but I think we will be. Afterwards,
I think so too.
We'll see what happens with the Carolina series. But anyways. I'm a believer. I am. I'm just trying to. I'm trying to be as objective as possible on the podcast. But I am a believer.
Sure,
I believe you.
All right.
But are you a
Thank you to
believer?
everybody for listening to. I was gonna say our week insert thing here, so I'm so used to it. But our halfway through round 2 breakdown of these NHL playoffs.
That's the title of the episode.
Follow us. Sorry?
That's the title of the episode.
Yes, exactly.
Halfway through these round 2 breakdown.
Derek Zoolander, Center for Kids Who Can't Read.
What is this, an episode for ants? It needs to be at least 3 times as long.
Iconic stuff. All right. Okay. Follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you got your podcasts. We are there. If you're watching on YouTube, give this video a like and subscribe to the channel. All the socials are in the podcast description, and join the Discord community, which we mentioned many a time as well.
We did.
And that was hilarious.
Yeah.
All right. Take it away.
Bow, Banker Management Fantasy Hockey Podcast. Woo!
Go Habs, go! Woo! Woo!
Wow, he didn't say the Go Habs go. Now we
He's
know
not a
how
real
he really
fan.
feels.
You
No,
didn't
I
say
know.
the Go Habs go.
Well, I don't repeat what Kevin says.
What in the world?